The first 2012 Flying Custom cars are making their way to collectors. Here we have one of the first cars in the batch. You got your 69 Copo Corvette. Also in the assortment, the A assortment, is the Dumpin' A. And right there on the side says Flying Customs. Now, even though the Flying Customs are being released after the Hot Ones, Mattel had these Hot Ones recently in the stores. It's actually the other way around. In history, the Hot Ones were an 80s product, and Flying Customs were basically 1973. So right here on the back, it says, get your groove, that's right, get your groove, your race grooves on with Flying Customs. These style and rides are a Hot Wheels salute to the past with retro decals and wide tracking fat black wall tires. And they're made, these are actually made to simulate the 1973 Flying Colors. But since Mattel no longer can get the rights to use the name Flying Colors, they're calling this line Flying Customs. And they're talking about the black walls. Well, the original Flying Colors were actually 1973, and that's because they had to change things up after the Redline era. Let me show you that. By the way, these adult collectibles, the Flying Customs and the Hot Ones, they come 16 to a case. And the Corvette right here actually has 4 of each. So this is the one that I wound up getting multiples of. And then I'll show you the other 4 cars in the case. I already showed you the Dumpin' A, and then I'll show you the other 3. All the other cars in the assortment have 3 cars each. The Corvette has 4 cars each, making 16 in the case. So let's take a quick look at this one, and then we'll get on to the story. Let's talk about the back of the package. Got the big fat rear tire. Pretty cool seeing a big fat black wall on there. Let's see, metal base. Yep. Metal base, metal body. Now, 1973, what happened is the toy industry was having a great difficulty, okay? The economy wasn't good, and Mattel was making these expensive Redline cars. Now, these are 2 original cars. This is a Grasshopper, and this is the Beatnik. I forget. I want to see the wrong one. Hot Heap, sorry. Hot Heap. Now, these are original Redlines, and original Redlines, what made them so cool is that Mattel had bent axle suspensions. There's actually one axle that goes like this and back, like an L. That's 1. Then there's 2. Then there's 3, and then there's 4. And so when they were manufacturing, they would have to put each one in one at a time. Not like nowadays, to where it's one axle. It's one axle with 2 wheels already attached, and then they just pop it in the channel, put the body together, boom, done, real fast. Back then, look how many steps they had to do. They had to put 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and that's just putting on the wheels. Then they still have the interior. They got the plastic, steering wheel, engine, base, body. So it was kind of expensive to, labor intensive to put these together. But what was cool about it is that, it gave the cars some suspension. And that's what gave them such realism. And kids really took to that compared to, your grandpa's Matchbox back at the time. But nonetheless, so that's one thing they changed between the Redline era of 68 to 73. So then, when the Flying Colors were released, they had to start going to cheaper methods. One of which was to get rid of the bent axle suspension for cost consideration. The other thing is that original Redlines, how they were produced is that the bare metal would be put in, the metal parts would be put in a tumbler, and then they'd be tumbled in a bunch of sand or grit. I'm not sure the exact composite, but they would be tumbled, and what that would do is that would give it a nice shiny, the metal underneath would be just so polished, and then when they put the paint on, that's what gives it the Spectra Flame finish. However, metal, metal can tend to oxidize and have imperfections. So what would happen is that you can see imperfections right through the metal. If you see some black splotchiness along the ridge right here, underneath the ridge, you can see some splotchiness. That's called toning. There's a good shot right there. See the toning? Well, the problem is, that doesn't look so good. So not only was the method, costly because they had to tumble all the cars to get rid of all the imperfection. Then they used a nice Spectral Flame paint to coat it, and it would be nice and thin so that you can see the shine of the metal underneath. On the other hand, when things went bad, they went bad, and you could really tell. I don't think this side doesn't look too bad. The other side, here we go in the back. Let's see if we can get it. So. There we go, right there. This angle shows a real. You can see the dark spots. That's a toning, and that is no good as far as collectors go. Now, for me, I just do downhill racing, so this guy's a racer. It's all right. Been a long time since he's got track time. But anyways, flying colors were brought to the line because flying colors would have straight axles, and they would use enamel paint. So if there was any imperfections in the metal, the paint would just cover right up. You wouldn't even know. So that's a little bit of history real quick before we get to the rest of the models in the A-case assortments of the Flying Customs series. I don't have an original Flying Customs package because they're quite expensive to acquire. But as you can see right here, 1982. So the original Hot ones were an 80 series. So even though Mattel is having had the re-release Hot ones come out before Flying Customs, it's actually the other way around. Flying Colors came out before Hot ones. So this is one of the 5 cars in the first assortment. Really, really nice. 1974 Chevrolet Vega Pro Stock. No, I'm not being biased because my first car was a Chevy Vega. It looks really nice. Love the color. Love the paint decos. Very cool. And there's the fat black tire like they were saying. Metal body. You got a metal hood scoop coming up. Metal base. Base says 1974 Chevrolet Vega Pro Stock. Yeah, just like there. Really cool car. It's got a wheelie bar in the back. So if I'm going to use it for downhill racing, it's I want to open it. If I'm going to use it for downhill racing, it's going to have to be a pretty flat track. It can't be a track that has a steep transition. Let's see how much let's see how much arc it has. It has a little bit of arc. So, but it still has to be pretty much on a straight downhill track. I'm not sure if it'll be wide or not, but there you go. There's the Chevy Vega. That's one. And the A-case assortments, there's the Corvette. That's the second car in the assortments. And then let's see, the third car. By the way, I think all the cars are actually re-released Hot ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't double check it. Plymouth Arrow, funny car, 77 Plymouth Arrow. Good enough for my red, white, and blue collection. But it's kind of neat to see these funny cars because the funny cars themselves, this is how they were back in the days, kind of in the Hot Wheels. Had big wide bodies and it was just kind of empty inside. Big hollow cavity. But so I like getting this one because it's reminiscent of the early Hot Wheels. So there's 1, 2, 3. Now there's 3 of these in the case. 3, 3, 4. And then there's 3 of each of the Dumpin' A that I showed you, and the 76 Chevy Monza. Did I show you this one before? We'll go ahead just in case I forgot. So it looks like it has a metal body, plastic bucket, plastic rail, and then it has a metal base. Chevy Monza came out before. Let me go ahead and compare these two. So See, here's the dumping A. It's winding up being in both lines. Here's your re-release hot ones, and here's your Flying Customs. And then here's the original Chevy Monza. Of course, this one's a favorite of mine. And now they have the Hot Flying Customs 76 Chevy Monza. It's okay. I have a feeling this one's going to be hanging around. This one I like. This one, not so much. So anyways, there's the peek at the first A-Case assortments of the Flying Customs. Hopefully they sell quick enough so that the stores can get batch B, batch C, and hopefully it doesn't get stuck on batch A with the castings and paint decos that they chose. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye bye.